Good evening, my friends, and welcome to this edition of the Bill Crane Report. I'm joined again by my friend Dwayne Weiss, and we are going to provide cutting-edge commentary, courageous opinions, and sound advice for you, our discriminating viewers. So, sit back, relax, and absorb the next 60 minutes of award-winning television. Dwayne, I thought we'd start with our Chicagoland report for this evening.
Oh boy.
In a city with perhaps the strictest handgun regulations in the nation. It's either that or Washington, D.C., one or the other. Here are the results of the weekend of September 26th to 28th. There were 43 people shot with 5 killed. Now tell me something, how about those strict laws out there? How well are they working, cutting down on violence?
It doesn't work, simply because the laws only apply to the law-abiding citizen. The shooters, and sometimes the shootees, are not law-abiding citizens, but the shooters are. They don't care about the laws.
Folks, we didn't rehearse this, even though it may sound rehearsed, but that is
Now, we do this cold, so.
Right. There is no rehearsal for this show. You're absolutely right. No truer words were ever spoken. We'll talk about that again here in another couple of subjects. The hypocrisy department. We could just talk one whole night about hypocrisy, but nonetheless, here's part one. I love this. President Obama's plan is to train and arm Syrian rebels so they can defend themselves against ISIS terrorists. But it is his stated policy, which is in defiance of the Second Amendment, to disarm American citizens as they try to defend themselves against the savages and monsters who prey on the innocent and law-abiding people of our great country. How do you explain that dichotomy?
I don't think you can.
No.
It's hypocrisy, that's all it is.
Is he talking out of both sides at the same time?
Mm-hmm. But, take that one step further. Even arming the Syrian rebels, we've had this happen in the past. We've armed them and it came back at us.
The Mujahideen in Afghanistan?
In Afghanistan, we armed them to the teeth against the Russians.
That's right. And then what happened?
10, 15 years later, we're seeing the same RPGs come flying at us.
So we have to be careful.
Yes, who you give weapons to.
Do you think he's thought about this?
I don't think he thought about it as in depth, but I think his advisors have told him about it
His
over and over.
advisors really have, and they're talking an awful lot off the record now, too, about some of the things they've advised him about, and he just doesn't grasp it.
No. Well, he might grasp it, but he's so political now.
Yeah.
Everything is comes down to being politics again.
Exactly. Yep, you're exactly right. Well, hypocrisy, part two. For Democrats, PACs offer edge. Shunned in the past, groups level the spending field. This is an amazing turnabout. The Democrats decried these PACs and the fact that they were funding the Republican Party and all of that. Now they admit that they are forming PACs of their own. Well, if you can't beat them, join them, I guess.
But I think that's been around for a long time. One side always takes the high road, and the other side says the other is taking the low road, and the other one says, I'm taking the high road, you're taking the low road. But PACs have been around. They just didn't have the name. They've been around for years. Exactly.
They were called unions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Unions, organizations, or coalitions.
Yep. Exactly. So, I think it's still somewhat hypocritical of them to decry PACs, but then jump on board.
We've seen this time after time in elections here.
Fun with polling data. The president went to Northwestern University out in Chicagoland, where he has a certain level of support. And he said something absolutely astounding the other day. He said, by any measure, we are in better shape today than we were on January 20th, 2009, when I took office. Now, the people, they ran a poll the next day. 58% of the people disagreed with them. They said we are not better off. And here's a few numbers. The labor participation rate in 2009 was 65.7. Today it's 62.8. Mm-hmm. In the 25 to 54 age bracket, we have 23% of the people chronically unemployed. They've gone all the way through their unemployment, and now they're just sitting at home without a job.
And they're not listed as unemployed anymore.
That's exactly
once
right.
the benefits run out,
you fall off that list.
you fall
You're
off
not
that list.
counted anymore.
As far as the statistics are, you have a job.
Yep, but you don't have a paycheck.
But you don't. Nope.
No. The national debt has gone from 10.6 billion to 17.8 billion. I don't think we're any better off now than we were then, huh?
I don't think so either.
Yeah. The median income in 2009 was a few dollars short of, 56.7. Mm-hmm. Today, it's 54. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's a considerable amount of drop. When you consider there has been a little inflation, a little cost creep, and we've gone down $3,000. Home ownership has declined from 67.5 to 64.7.
Yeah, that's home ownership was something every young person when they get growing up, get
Sure.
married. I'm going to have a home.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a home better than mom and dad got. That's no longer the truth. That's no longer the case.
And you aspired to it.
Yep.
You get married, buy a house, have a bunch of little rugrats.
That's right.
That was the American dream. But not now. I mean, we're down 3.5 or 4% in home ownership. In this one here, I really like. January 20th, 2009, we had 32 million people on food stamps. Today, we get 46.5 million. That is a 46% increase.
Yep.
In the amount of people on food stamps.
That's right.
Now, how the devil can we be better off today than we were in 2009 if there's a 46% increase in food stamps?
Well, we're not. It's just that simple.
Yeah, so what possessed him to go out there and say that? Did he really think he was going to fool people with that, or?
Yes.
Or do you think, worst case, do you think he really believes that?
I think that at some point he believes that kind of things. He's a great orator, and he believes that what he says, you should believe.
Yeah. Oh, he can be hypnotic. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, he's a very good speaker. No question. Here's a couple more polls that I found very interesting. Should our borders be secured in light of the Ebola outbreak?
Positively.
Would you believe 98% said yes?
I believe that. I'm surprised it wasn't 99 something.
Well, 2% said no. We ought to find the 2% and lock them up.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We might be on the verge of a pandemic.
You got it? Ah, boy, I'll tell you.
This is so dangerous.
We're close.
Yep.
We're close to what could be a nasty situation, no doubt. Airstrikes against ISIS. 78% of the country approves of it. Ground forces against ISIS, if necessary, 57% would approve it. Those numbers are very, very interesting, and they're totally different than what the president believes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Boots on the ground next. And that's why I have this in this order. Ground forces, 57% of the people would approve it. After the president's talk to the country, here was this article with the headlines, Boots on the Ground. Next? Question mark. And it's written by Julie Pace from the Associated Press.
Okay.
Now, when the Associated Press out of Washington carries an article like this, you can be guaranteed the administration has written it for her and said, leak this out because we want to see if this will resonate with the people. So,
right.
on one hand, you say we're not going to have boots on the ground, but on the other side of the coin, here they are testing the waters.
Oh, if that would have been 75 or 80% approval rates,
Yeah,
they'd have been loading them up tomorrow.
yeah. This will change gears a little bit, but still stay with polling data. The bottle bill here in Massachusetts to extend the deposit to all sorts of other bottles is being defeated 60 to 33. That's the latest polling data.
Yep.
Now, you want to talk about chutzpah. The people that are in favor of expanding the bottle bill have written letters to Massachusetts TV stations asking them to remove the opponent's ads, calling them false or misleading. In a letter to the stations, the Yes question on 2 Coalition argued that the ads violate federal guidelines and ban inaccurate or deceptive advertising. You know, if this were true, and if they decided to enforce that, every single political ad would have to be yanked.
Absolutely.
Because there's not one of them that is truthful.
That's right.
I mean, they all put their spin on things.
That's right. It's spin.
Yeah.
These are facts or figures that you can't prove. You and I could lay out figures like this, and who's going to dispute them?
Exactly.
No one.
Exactly.
And as far as the bottle bill goes, if you want to talk about that, that's fine with me, because I think that's one of the most ridiculous things right now. It probably was all right in its day, but that ship has sailed.
Well, I tell you what, 25 or 30 years ago, when this first came into being, there was an awful lot of litter on the streets. I used to see it because I was in the woods all the time, trapping or fishing or something like that.
I live in 115. There still is a lot of
Yeah,
litter.
I used to pick up crap all the time. I'd fill my canoe with stuff. There's a lot less now. And I think a lot of it's got to do with the bottle bill.
Yep,
However, we also have curbside pickup
that's right.
and recycle centers. And the other thing is it's getting very difficult to find somebody that'll take the stuff
Yep.
if you do want to return it. There used to be the place over to Rentham, over to the state school.
Yep. Is that gone?
That's gone.
Okay.
Yeah, it allegedly moved to Mansfield someplace, but then I looked for it down there and I couldn't find it, so who knows where it's gone. But this is amazing. They're writing to TV stations because they don't like the ads and they want the TV stations to yank them.
The bottle bill itself, if it was that effective, there would be more than just a handful of states that adopted it after all these years.
Yep. Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you. What also was an eye-opener, too, was the fact that in the, I forget how long ago it was, but $350 million has gone back to the Treasury. Not
Can
for-
shrinkage?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the politicians are doing with that what they will.
Other states, for example, and today, another thing, I know they're primarily talking about the bottled water, but let's go for cans a minute. Aluminum today is expensive. It's worth a lot of money. People in the Midwest, other states that don't have a bottle bill, collect these cans.
Oh, sure.
Because it's a plus. It's not. It's here. You pay a nickel, you get a nickel back. You don't get anything for taking the can back. All you do is stand still. Actually, you don't stand still because transportation, time, cost. And there's a cost factor in this bottle bill that people don't realize. You've got deposit on the time from the manufacturer to the distributor, to the wholesaler, to the retailer, to him. And each one of them takes 2 or 3 cents handling charge all the way down the line.
Absolutely.
And where do you think that money is going to be paid?
Sure.
The consumer is going to pay. He said, well, I'm paying a nickel
Absolutely.
deposit, but I get a nickel deposit. Baloney, you've made
No.
8, maybe 6 or 7 steps at 2 cents a step. That's 14 cents added
the
to it
guys
there.
that take the cans back and give you a nickel, they get 8 cents back.
They get 8, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. They get 3 cents
So,
handling on
yeah.
it. Yeah. And there's 2 or 3 levels above them.
Yeah, sure. And everybody adds on to the price,
Yep.
and you and I pay it.
Yeah, I remember when that thing went through, 12-pack of beer went cost, or soda,
Yeah.
It jumped.
Probably a better example.
Well, I didn't buy much soda.
I have got another, I'm not going to go through all of these,
Sure.
but I sure have, there's a couple of these that really are amazing. I think, anyway. Which comes following? I don't read well. That's age. Which of the following comes closest to your own view regarding the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare? Keep it as it is. 19% want to keep it as it is. Keep it with modifications, 41%. Repeal it, 35%. Don't know, 5%. But keep as is, only 19%. So we recognize that this is a very imperfect act.
Well, when you get 35% that want to dump it,
Yeah.
when you get over a third
Yes.
of the people that are unhappy
Exactly.
with it, that tells you there's problems.
Yeah, and 41%, yeah, we'll keep it, but with modifications. Some modifications may be insignificant, others might be major. This is an imperfect bill, and it was rushed through.
People that
No
voted,
excuses.
the people in the legislatures that voted for this, they didn't know what was in it.
No. All they know is that
You know what?
Nancy told them,
Trust me.
yeah, we've got to find out what's in it by passing it away
Yeah,
from
passing
the
it, they'll find out what's in
fog.
it.
Then we'll figure it out, yeah. Boy, oh boy. Do you approve of the way Obama is handling health care? Very close, 47% approve, 46% disapprove. A dead heat. The same people, evidently.
Yeah, sometimes you take these polls and
Yeah.
you ask question A and you get a certain answer.
Yeah.
You ask question B, that's diabolically opposed to question A.
Yes, the same thing. Do you approve of the way he's handling the economy? 47 approve, 45 disapprove.
A lot depends on how the questions are asked.
Exactly. The job performance of Barack Obama as president. 46 approve, 48 disapprove. So even here in predominantly Democratic Massachusetts, this administration is not winning the battle here. The people are seeing through some of this stuff. Do you approve of the way Barack Obama is handling foreign policy? 31% approve, 56% disapprove.
Yeah, you can see the difference is skewing there on that
Yes,
particular
and now
question.
here's another one that's really key, immigration. Do you approve of the way Obama is handling immigration? 31% again approve, 56% again disapprove. So bang, bang, the same thing.
Yeah,
we don't approve of these two things.
Immigration can be scary.
Yeah, it can be.
Very, very scary.
And there are more people that I talk to that say, you know, we have got to be careful. And do you remember the movie Lifeboat? William Bendix was in it.
Oh yeah,
Bankhead.
wasn't there a POW or something?
Yeah, there was a Nazi that they picked up from a submarine or something.
I do remember years ago.
Yeah. But basically, the story behind Lifeboat, is look, we're all on this wooden boat, but there's not enough food, not enough water for all of us. So this elderly couple volunteers to jump overboard, committing suicide, so that the others can live. This country is getting like that rowboat. We're in danger of sinking. Our educational system has been semi-destroyed. Our health care has been...
Social welfare program is
Social welfare
overwhelmed.
programs. The unemployment in this country has been aggravated by this. No one is saying we shouldn't have people from other countries come, but it should be done legally.
And
Not just how many can get over the border.
how many can swarm the border, swarm the fence, that's right.
And now, with ISIS, with Ebola, I mean, this is very worrisome, what's going to come across that southern border.
Yep.
This also is interesting. It's a little bit about nothing here, but which of the following statements come closest to your own view about Senator Elizabeth Warren? 14% believed that she should run for president whether or not Hillary Clinton decides to run in 2016. 69% say she should not run under any circumstances. I don't understand why we're conjecturing about this lady.
I don't understand either.
Where are her qualifications to be president? She taught at Harvard.
Where was her presidency to be senator?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But even more so to be president, anyway. One more that I found very, very interesting, and this was September 26th. Favorability ratings. Martha Coakley, very favorable, 14%. Charlie Baker, very favorable, 13%. Martha Coakley, somewhat favorable, 32%. Charlie Baker, 37%. Somewhat of very unfavorable, Martha Coakley, 22%. Somewhat unfavorable, 22%. That's 44%. Charlie Baker, 8%. Very unfavorable, 16% somewhat unfavorable. She is at 44 unfavorable, he's at 24.
Plus, it's a Democratic state.
Yeah, I mean, this is the amazing part of it. Mm-hmm. And 10% don't know.
Martha, her favorability rating and Baker's favorability, unfortunately, a lot of times those kind of factors is how photogenic am I, how smooth a talker am I, how friendly a position do I project when I get in front of the camera, how do people like me. Sometimes it has nothing to do much with performance.
Qualifications, yeah. You're absolutely right. But Martha Coakley's had 4 years now as Attorney General since she was defeated by Scott Brown to polish herself up and really present a much more competent, much more user-friendly package. But apparently, by those numbers, she hasn't done it.
She's not edgy. She doesn't scare anybody away.
No. And I have another poll that came later that puts the difference even further. Mm-hmm. By the way, according to the Globe, right now, the latest poll, Charlie Baker has 39, she has 36, and there's 20% undecided.
Yeah, that's going to be the key in this election.
That is a big, big number. Well, okay. I got to get a couple of opinion things here. This is a good one. Rather than continue to plow into those things. Dwayne, have you ever taken a selfie?
No.
Do you have a Facebook page?
No.
How come?
I'm technically way behind the curve.
I mean,
when I got up for years, I didn't even get a cell phone. And I was on the road like yourself. There used to be payphones all over the place.
Yeah.
I woke up one day and I said, well, there's no payphone around here anymore. And so my wife had a cell phone. I said, well, I don't really need one. If I need one, I'll use hers. And then finally, I went over to BJ's and I said to the guy at Verizon, I said, I need a cell phone. He says, well, what do you got now? And I said, I don't have one. He kind of looked at me funny. He says, I thought my mother-in-law was the last person in the state that didn't have a cell phone. We got them now, but...
Well, I remember, too, in those days, too. I mean, let's face it, you looked for hotels and motels because that was a double stop. You could hit the men's room and the telephones.
That's right. Oh, yeah, you always had a bank there in the lobby.
That's it, exactly.
Yep.
But I don't have a cell phone. To this day, I don't have one. I hate the damn things. The happiest day of my life was when I finally retired and I handed over the cell phone. I closed it up and said, it's all yours. All back, buddy.
fact, I used to like to be in the car that nobody get a hold of me.
Yeah. Oh, that's, believe me, I was very happy because I said, now I can go back to being normal again without having a tether on me.
But just watch the young people. It's getting to be anybody.
Oh, yeah.
They're totally connected.
Yeah.
They cannot get 5 feet away from the phone or whatever it is. They've got to be connected.
Well, I was thinking about this selfie and this Facebook page thing. So if you'll allow me to pontificate here for a moment, not like me to do this sort of thing.
Of course not.
No.
Oh, we've never seen this.
Right.
Bill Crane.
Is this what our society has become? A mass of narcissistic, brain-dead robots. I'm sure their motto is, it's all about me. Look at this selfie. Isn't it so cute? Look at all my pictures on Facebook. Aren't they great? Here's me at my birthday party. Here's me going to Judy's house. Here's me at the pool. Here's my new hairdo. Oh, look at me on my new motorcycle. Or look at my 2 new tats. They just drive the ladies crazy. Of course, they've always loved me anyway, but now I'm just Mr. Perfect. So is this what we're all about? In an incredibly shallow and brain-dead society? Or is this just some bizarre subset of the emotionally needy? You'll have to answer that now.
I think it's both. I think we have the emotional.
Another hard-hitting answer.
We've brought out that needy aspect in certain parts of the elements of our society.
Yeah.
And I think the young people today have a desire to be connected. They're almost afraid to go on their own. They have to be connected with somebody else.
You know, I agree with you totally. And this is not preparing them for the real world of going on a sales call and dealing with somebody face to face when all they've ever done is do it on a screen.
Yep.
Or go on a date. Oh, what do I do next? I mean, before when I talked to them just on the cell phone or the picture phone, I mean, but holy cow, what do I do now? It just doesn't set them up for the real world. No. You can't read body language over a stupid cell phone.
But, you know, you and I'd have problem going back, starting over again.
Tell me about it. I know that. This is beautiful. Here's a headline that says electric rates in the state climb for the winter.
Jeez,
and the other newspaper said area electric bills to jump 37%. Now, there's some good news, huh?
That's good news.
Yeah. Now,
but, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Comment on that, please.
But as soon as they talk about a pipeline coming across the state to supply more natural gas, oh, no.
I knew I shouldn't have let you speak next. The Globe.
Yeah.
After those 2 stories,
they
had letters to the editor. And they published these 3 lengthy letters.
I wasn't here during that time, so
well,
I don't know what they are.
Let me tell you. I'm not going to use these people's names.
Okay, fine.
Because
we're probably better off.
It would be humiliating.
Yeah.
First one, rate hike could be more than many can handle. Many people in our Commonwealth are widowed, elderly, and on a fixed income. A rate increase of this magnitude would be more than some of them would be able to handle, and blah, 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 like that, you know? The last paragraph's beautiful. I would ask that our current governor and candidates for governor make a solution to this issue a priority, as the effective date of this increase is just a month away. Our governor is going to come up with a solution and have it in place in 1 month.
Sandman's going to bring it.
Wow. The second one is even better. This fellow here is really interesting. Two-pronged approach. Boost alternative sources. Push conservation. First, if the Cape Wind project were in operation now, instead of having been delayed for more than a decade by misinformation and frivolous lawsuits, of the Alliance to Protect Nantucket Sound and its fossil fuel magnate donors, such as Bill Cook. We would have a more diverse energy mix, providing a hedge against supply and price disruptions. Well, the last time I saw numbers coming out of the Cape Wind, the cost to produce electricity was going to be 30 or 40% higher than what we're currently paying. Now, you know yourself, those are the best case projections.
Yep.
It's going to be worse than that. So I don't know where he's coming that this is going to be a hedge against price disruptions. But second, I love this. It's way past time to implement an intensive energy conservation outreach program to reduce waste. For example, I see outdoor lights left on all day, on block after block, in town after town. A small but absurd waste of precious natural resources in each single instance, but one that adds up quickly when multiplied by thousands upon thousands throughout the region. So this guy evidently gets up in the morning and drives from town to town through every neighborhood on light bulb patrol.
Don't you do that?
I used to, but
You quit, huh?
yeah, I couldn't count that high. So the third one, we should be looking at how to bolster energy infrastructure. There's a committee that's been formed, the New England States Committee on Electricity. All the governors are on it. So we know things will get done now. And they could launch a major regional initiative for affordable clean energy that would not be subject to the volatility of natural gas markets. Now,
That sounds like a lot of poppycock.
well, first of all, we started with coal is bad. Nuclear power is
Oh,
bad.
that was just going to kill us.
And now, why can't we be using clean natural gas? So now that we're fracking and we got natural gas coming out our ears and the price has dropped, not gone up, it's, well, we shouldn't be using that either. Well, it's a fossil fuel, you see. This is good. I urge Governor Patrick, who has been a champion on preparing for our energy future, to use his remaining time and authority in office to work with his fellow governors in authorizing NESCO to get joint, large-scale energy investments on track. So,
Well, what kind of energy investments and what?
this fellow here is obviously, you know, I saw a study that said if, in fact, we were able to swing over to solar power and wind power at its max, it couldn't handle more than 12% of our energy needs in
That's
this
probably
country.
a fair estimate. right
Yeah.
there.
So what about the other 88%? What do we do then, Ed? All three of these letters ignore the fact that Canadians want to bring down hydroelectric power from Quebec.
Correct,
Now,
that's right.
there is no pollution with hydroelectric
right.
power. It comes
green.
from water.
And look at the fuss they're making
Yeah.
for running the lines.
That's right. I don't want those lines coming through my neighborhood.
Well, it's not just my neighborhood. There's an element here.
Of course there is.
That don't want progress of like this. They want to go back to the old, back to nature,
Yep.
and it just doesn't work because they don't realize they still want their hair dryers. They still want their microwave oven, but they don't want to think where's the power going to come to run these items?
How about build more natural gas lines too? Oh, we don't want to do that. I don't
do
want
that.
pipelines in my neighborhood. Oh, we can't have that. I mean, it'll look like Louisiana.
But there's even to extend that into the Keystone.
Yeah,
Right now, they have no way of getting some of the oils, the shale oil, out of North Dakota except by rail.
that's right.
We've seen what rail's done. That the one in Canada that was a
Yeah,
disaster.
the
They've had two or three
derailed,
more
yeah.
that fortunately weren't that
Yep.
loss of life, but they still were the potential. These are rail cars. These are full of volatile fluids. they jumped the tracks.
The tracks aren't up to handling that sort of
No,
stuff.
they're not.
And some of the rail cars aren't.
They're not either.
I mean, it would be so much easier to have a pipeline
Yep.
come through and have offshoots off of it. It just makes sense. But you know, back in 1977, 78, 79, someplace back there, we had a push up here in New England to build a refinery. Well, let me tell you something. Every nut in the world came out of the woodwork. We're not going to have that. No way we're having that. Down in Louisiana, I used to see bumper stickers. And let's see, it was, I could clean this up a little bit.
I know.
The heck with them. Let them freeze in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were on all the pickup
Texas
trucks.
too had them all.
Yeah, Texas had them all too. And they're right. We don't want to have a refinery up here. The heck with them. Send them no product.
That's right.
Or let them pay through the nose for the shipping charges, if we have enough. I mean, we want this approach up here where, well, you know, we're better than everybody else, and we don't want to soil things. And listen, nobody appreciates nature more than me. Okay?
Yeah, you're an
But-
outdoorsman, and
Yeah, but by the same token, we have got to, you know, slug our way into the 21st century here somehow.
but
Gee,
much of New England has never been willing to step up and take responsibility to do their share, no matter what it was.
that's right.
It's always let somebody else do it. We'll take the advantage.
And don't drill
No, no.
offshore either.
No.
No. Unbelievable. Well, one of my favorite subjects.
One of your many favorites.
One of my
subjects.
many favorites. A pit bull owner whose 4 dogs fatally mauled a woman was sentenced Friday to 15 years to life for second-degree murder. She was an elderly woman, 63 years old, was out for a walk. 4 dogs leaped a fence and attacked her. She was bitten between 150 to 200 times and bled to death. They went to this guy's house. And guess what the dogs were? They were guard dogs for his marijuana growing operation. He was charged with murder when they found her DNA on the dog's bloody fur. The dogs were put down. The only thing I could add to that would be, and the owner was too. But too bad he wasn't.
But also on that subject, you know, how many times you've heard there's no bad pit bulls. It's
No.
the owners.
Oh, then they had to put the owner down with the
it's the
dogs.
owner.
Yeah.
It's not. These dogs have been, for years, they've been at the forefront of.
Bread, for one thing.
That's right.
Unbelievable.
They're
Well,
like-
anyway,
They're a dangerous weapon.
now you're going to like this one.
I bet I will.
And I'll bet you that you'll say, you know what? This fellow sounds like he may well be innocent. A Massachusetts man who has bumps resembling horns implanted on his forehead
I saw a guy like that not too long ago.
has been sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms for his role in the murders of 3 Pittsfield men. Caius Veovus maintained his innocence Monday, saying, "My hand wasn't in this." And then he turned to the jury and said, "I'll see you in hell." Now, that sounds to me like an innocent man that has been misunderstood.
Just misunderstood. That's all it is.
Oh, man. All right, I'm going to skip this one because I want to talk about this one. 2 teen lifers seek parole. This fellow here, World War II vet Louis Pojek, was murdered in 1988 by Stephen Ward. Stephen, nice young man,
I'm sure.
disemboweled him with a butcher knife. And we're not sure exactly why. But anyway, he killed him. And another fellow by the name of Diatchenko, Gregory Diatchenko, crawled into a guy's Cadillac in downtown Boston, Kenmore Square, and screaming, "Give me money, you something or other," expletive, and stabbed him 9 times to grab his wallet. Mm-hmm. These 2 young men are asking to be paroled because they were under 21 when they were convicted. What say you?
You have to accept responsibility for your actions.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question. And we don't.
We don't today.
We don't accept responsibility for our actions. And in fact, we'll get to another one here where it's scary. But here's the thing. The parole board has been faced with 3 of these and paroled all 3 of them.
There's one today in the paper today.
Yeah, including one young man, 16 years old, who beat a 15-year-old girl to death with a baseball bat. Mm-hmm. Well, he's been paroled. It just doesn't, that little girl's dead. She's not coming back. I'm not a big fan of early parole for these fellows.
I'm not
sorry.
either, because it's not only keeping them in prison for the fact that they answered for their crime. It's still, you got the fact that there's still a danger to society from these people. They may have been young, and maybe they're not a danger, but who's going to take that chance? Now, if a judge is willing to take personal responsibility for that person,
Yeah.
let him out.
Here's the other
But
one.
he does something.
Here's the other one I was looking for. Man accused of stealing donations from a Cub Scout. He stole a can with a Cub Scout was raising money for, exactly what, I'm not sure. But anyway, this 10-year-old fellow was out there with the can, and he had roughly $238 they had collected outside a supermarket, I believe. And this guy ran up and ripped it out of his hands, and he said, "Times are hard," and he ran off. Kenneth Paul Smith Jr., 28 of Chepachet, Rhode Island, was arrested yesterday by the cops who recognized him as he hung around the Malden Tea Station. Stealing is never okay, but you never know what makes someone desperate, D'Angelo said. He should be ashamed. He needs to apologize to the Cubs face to face. We told the boys he was desperate and maybe he needed the money more to buy his kids food or needed it for rent. That's what the Scoutmaster counseled the young man.
Well, it's nice to tell them to the kids that, but it's not true.
No, it's not true.
There's nobody in
But
around here
here's the worst part about it. The next day, they interviewed the young man, the young Cub Scout. And he says, "I forgive him. He needs help to try not to take drugs and to try and not steal. I'm taught what's best for me and best for everyone else is what you should do." You know what we are in danger of doing is saying that anyone that falls under drug addiction is a victim of the drugs and not of his own criminal acts.
That's right.
And that is not the right way to look at this. These people started taking drugs at some point in time willingly. And they steal, they rob, they kill to feed their habit. Those are criminal acts. We can't say, well, he was under the influence of drugs and not his fault. It is his fault.
Oh, they take that further. There's such a thing called a Twinkie defense.
Yeah. Well, one of these Oh, I've got it here later. We'll get to that. Oh, I can't wait for this one. We'll have to move this one right to the top. Charlie Baker, candidate for governor, committed a mortal sin the other day by calling a reporter sweetheart.
Uh-oh.
Yep, called her sweetie. Well, that caused quite an outrage. That was a very demeaning thing, blah, blah, blah. She was upset. Now, Howie Carr did some research on this, Googled it, and he found out that Obama did it twice during the 2008 campaign.
I bet they weren't outraged then.
No, the first time was in April in Allentown, Pennsylvania, when he referred to a factory worker as sweetie. Then a month later, he was in Detroit, and a female reporter shouted out a question about the candidate's plans for American auto workers, and he responded, "Hold on one second, sweetie. We'll do a press avail."
There you go.
Okay for
And not
one,
okay.
but not okay over here. All right. I'm glad I got that straightened out. I'm glad you helped me with that.
Speaking of that,
Yes.
I have had occasions where I've gone out for breakfast or for lunch, and the waitress says, "Would you like another cup of coffee, honey?" To me.
Absolutely.
Oh, I was just mortified. Yeah,
you
I
know-
gave her a bigger tip, is what I did.
I'll tell you.
Anybody calls me honey or sweetie?
Yeah, the older I get, the more the waitresses and folks like that call me sweetheart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I get that too.
Yeah.
I guess it's old men with mustaches and beards.
That must be it. Yeah, the tip well.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's a term of endearment. It's a term of friendliness.
That's right. It does, but Bill, it doesn't matter today. What you do, somebody's always going to get a hair.
Yeah.
Somebody's always going to take offense.
Well, I hope you're going to be offended by this next
I probably will
problem.
be.
All right, because
I
you're
offend
going
real easy.
and you are going to have to be the judge and jury.
Okay.
Two men were charged with racing in Mansfield on Route 95. They were charged by going 130 miles an hour. Now, this was late at night, early in the morning, passing cars. Also, they were charged with weaving in and out of lanes, traveling too close to each other and other drivers on the highway, in addition to passing one another. Oh, and by the way, one of them was also charged for driving without a license. Gee, that's hard to believe, huh?
It's hard to believe.
This first of all, this really burns me. They appeared in court on summonses and are free on their own recognizance. No bail.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, none.
You've got to be kidding me. Anyway, what will the judge do to each? Then, what should he do to each?
I know if I was a judge and had the power,
All right, I've already got my
I know.
answer. I got my answer written down
the
here.
state would own those two cars. First of all, they'd lose the car.
These bozos probably don't own them.
Well, they might still own the note on them. But oh yeah, and I think there's jail time for this. This is probably more dangerous than going out, even if they were an unlicensed gun owner, and going out and shooting someplace. You know, even if they're a licensed gun owner, just go out in public and do something.
What
like
do you
that.
think the judge will do?
I think they'll get a fine and probation.
You already told me what he should do.
I really think. They'll do it.
My judgment: 1 year in prison, no license for 20 years.
Oh, they'll definitely take the license away.
All right, glad to see we agree on that. Here's something here that you can comment on. On 9/18, we witnessed the perfect example of the shambles and confused state of the Obama presidency. Secretary of State John Kerry was asked if we were now at war with ISIS, and he replied, no. On the same day, the president's Press Secretary Josh Earnest was asked the same question, and he said yes. Well, that makes everything about as clear as mud, or am I missing something, Dwayne?
You're not missing anything. I don't think one hand talks to the other. They don't. One side doesn't know.
This really makes me feel good about
Yeah.
my government.
But that's been a long time with John Kerry and Obama.
A question for you. Supposing, now we're not going to because we're using the wrong strategy, but supposing we crush ISIS with an aggressive attack strategy and they collapse like a house of cards. How do we handle the aftermath, govern the people, police the territory, and protect the innocent civilians? Or do we just wipe our hands of the whole matter, come home and say, holy cow, aren't we great?
You know, I think that's a $64,000 question because you can't.
See, that's what happened. I'm sorry, I shook my finger at you.
It's okay. You're not the first person to do that.
That's what happened in Iraq.
Yep.
We went in there and kaboom. We overthrew Hussein. Everything was cool, sort of. Then we looked at each other and said, well, what do we do next? Yep. We had no plan on how to handle that country.
That's right. You can't. Plus, it's tribal. You can't do anything with it. If you get rid of this element, another one pops up over here. Get rid of them, another one pops up over here.
You got to have some sort of strategy, though. And this is pathetic because I'll be willing to bet you the Obama All-Stars have got nothing up their sleeve except a hairy wrist.
That's right.
All right. Charlie Baker was excoriated by the social media and the assorted screamers in our society when he didn't immediately reply to them when they questioned him on his reaction to the assorted wife, girlfriend, child beaters in the NFL and how Roger Goodell was handling and/or mishandling this mess. His reaction was to carefully examine the evidence, such as it is, and to make a calm, reasoned decision, and then disseminate it, as any sound, mature person would. Why would you then call him hesitant or unsure? Doesn't every intelligent person think before they speak? Does everyone have to answer in instant sound bites for the social media set, or the assorted news hounds barking for a headline, or the political mavens praying for a misspeak? Have we lost our minds when we condemn a deliberative, searching, contemplative thought process?
Today, I think we judge it immediately.
In other words, it's got to be instant sound bites. It's got to
have
be
the right
instant
answer
gratification.
Right now. Yep.
And
I would like to see people in charge, whether it be politicians, heads of sports authorities, or what, if they're asked a question and they don't know, say, I don't know, but I'll find out.
Do you know that was one of the easiest answers I had in my working career?
Yeah,
when somebody called me and said, Bill, what kind of a valve would I use for this particular application? And I would say, you know what, rather than wing you something, I'm going to really do a little research on this because this is a critical application. I'll call you back this morning with an answer and a quotation. Mm-hmm. Rather than say, oh, just a minute, I got something up my sleeve here. How about a 6-inch carbon steel, 600-pound flange, blah, 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 blah. I mean...
Another one is that the word flip-flopper. If today you believe it's A, but tomorrow, as a couple days go by and you find more intelligence or more information, you find out it's B, have the ability to say, I was misinformed. I didn't know. And now this is what I found out. But no, now you get labeled as a flip-flopper.
Yeah. Do you know that a couple of times we actually gummed up a couple of quotations and I misquoted some prices, but I called back the individual and said, I have a mea culpa here I need to talk to you about, but we neglected to add the price of the manual overrides to these control valves, and I simply can't produce them at this price. Here's the corrected price. I apologize for the confusion, but I called you back as soon as I caught this mistake, and I want to make it right, but This is where the price has got to be. And do you know that my customers would say, you know what, Bill, I haven't even looked at the quote yet.
Yeah,
So
they're understanding.
Look, or, you know what, Bill, I can talk to engineering. We're just, right now, we're sort of looking at the costs of everything. And I appreciate you calling me back, and I appreciate you not sandbagging me later on. But people understand when you make a mistake.
But the world
because
of politics,
we all do.
when the world of politics, first speak is final speak.
Yeah.
And that's
Yep.
it. There's,
Yep. You're absolutely right. 5 decades later, doubts are still raised about the Warren report, the Kennedy assassination. 60%, wait a minute. In 2013, the Gallup poll found 60% of Americans think others were involved, other than Lee Harvey Oswald. What do you feel about that?
open the darn files.
Yeah.
Stop keeping them secret. After all these years, dispel whatever it is. By the virtue of the fact that you're going to keep it closed is always going to pull up this conjecture and suspicion.
What are you doing? You're feeding the fury here.
That's right.
You're keeping the fire burning. I personally, now, well, let me ask you a question before I say what I'm
Okay.
going to say. Do you think you could fire that gun as quickly and as accurately as Oswald did? Because I don't think I could. In fact, I'll categorically say I couldn't do it.
No, and was a hunter as a young man.
Yeah.
I was in the military for a long time.
Sure.
I had a lot of experience. I've been in combat. I didn't have the ability to do that.
No. Listen.
Particularly not with the rifle he was using. Yeah, a bolt action and a foreign, I forgot where it was
Italian,
from,
I think, or
Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
I just hard time with that. There is so much here that we don't know. Now, maybe if we knew it, maybe we could dope this thing out a little bit better. But they protected people. Frank Sinatra, for one, in that they protected the mafia.
Open it up. History is history.
Open it up and let some air in.
Yeah.
We have time for one more outrage here, and here it is. Some civil servants are grumbling over the push to hire veterans. They are angry. I've heard people say, I've applied for a job, but some veteran's just going to get it.
Yep. I read that article.
Yeah. This is, here are guys that went out and laid their life on the lines, especially the ones that have been wounded with the Purple Heart. They get extra points here. Holy cow, they laid their life on the lines, and then they want a decent job when they come back, and these bozos that wouldn't go in the service.
That's right.
No. Unbelievable. Boy, I'll tell you something. A pox on their houses.
That's right.
And I guess we had time for one more. We have a threat on a flight averted. A 26-year-old man had a psychopathic episode on board a flight, and they had to make an emergency landing. You know, I spent an awful lot of time flying, and boy, I'll tell you, I saw some strange things happen on those planes. But boy, anybody that disrupts a flight, as far as I'm concerned, 5 years in the slammer.
Yeah,
because if you do something and it causes that plane to crash, not only me, but about 130 others are going to go down in flames too. But we put them in the, you give them a slap on the hand and say, you've been bad, you've been off your meds or something, and very bad. Well, I have just got the signal, my friends, that I have some bad news for you. Our hour is up, and we must shut down the magic of our show. But friends, hold off on the weeping, the despair, the urge to go binge drinking, because within the fortnight, we will be back with another great show. Again, for you potheads, a fortnight is 14 days. In 14 days, you can figure that out. That's the total number of fingers you have on both hands. So keep smiling, and before you know it, we will be gracing your TV screens again. So with that, we wish you a most pleasant good evening.